Hello, everyone, and welcome to the end of an era. That's right, this is the final episode in this series, at least for now. Today, we will be returning through each of the 15 previous locations we've covered to find just one more of those small, unremarkable little details in each location. So, if you've enjoyed any of this series so far, if you've only just found it, well, firstly, consider subscribing, but more importantly, thank you for being along for the ride. And who knows, maybe this series will return someday, but there is, of course, more content I would like to make. Anyway, enough getting sidetracked, let's get started. First off, we are headed all the way back to the Rift. And of course, we could be here for nothing other than a skeleton. Now, quite clearly, this poor fellow was killed and consumed by this bear, but the location is what's interesting. This is a shrine of Zenithar, the Adric god of commerce, the Adric crypto bro, if you will. And presumably, this poor soul was one of his followers. The tower we find ourselves in is falling to rubble, and as such, the shrine is in a very poor state. You'd think a devotee of Zenithar would keep a better maintained shrine. But this, coupled with the fact that this person appears to have no belongings, would lead me to believe that the bear didn't actually kill them. Perhaps the tower was besieged by bandits looking to take the spoils of Zenithar for themselves, though the coin purse left on the table makes that unlikely too. Maybe this was just a really strong bear. Perhaps we should retreat carefully. And now for Falkreath. This is a very hidden one. Moving into the woods, we notice the ground beneath our feet becoming treacherous and cracked, small gorges in the earth. And it is in one of these gorges, tucked away right at the back, that we can find a single solitary helmet. There is no reason for this to be here. There is no body or camp nearby. It simply is. No explanation whatsoever. There's not much more to say on the matter, but it is most curious indeed. Whiterun, a fan favourite, of course, and speaking of fan favourites, we have, of course, a skeleton. This poor soul was left clutching at the last of their possessions, that which they held most dear, presumably. A strongbox. Now, for us it just contains loot appropriate for our level, but I'm sure it held a very special place in this person's heart. But what could have possibly killed them? Well, given their lack of flesh and remaining valuables, I would have to assume they lost their life to one of the ferocious predators around here. And the big saber cat is a solid clue too. Next up is the Pale, and I actually remember purposefully not including this one in that video, because I wanted to save it for something like this, so good job me. Here we find a shrine of Mara. Whilst this would seem to hold no real significance, and well, it really doesn't, it's where it is that makes it interesting, being situated between the borders of the Pale, Whiterun, and Hjaalmarch. Whoever put this shrine here was clearly trying to send a message of love. Given the Civil War, I'm not so sure it worked. Next we have the Reach, and this one is very odd. We can come across two horses. Clearly these horses are owned. There's a post nearby to tie them up, though unused, and they are both saddled. Hi, editing Snowfall here. You may have noticed these horses are clearly in a Stormcloak camp. But as it turns out, if you come here before any of the Civil War stuff, they're still here. I didn't realize that at the time, but the more you know. So, yeah, that's another odd discovery. But anyway, back to the video. But that isn't even what's weird. What's weird is with the amount of skeletons and bodies we found during this series, why aren't there even more of these? Next up is Eastmarch, with another puzzling one. We find a shrine of Akatosh, tucked away in the hills. Fairly normal so far, but upon approach, we will be met with a trifecta of skeleton attackers rising from the dead. But why? What are they doing here? There's no necromancers here or necromancer-related items. In fact, there's an alteration skill book of all things. Was this a trap laid for priests or some kind of defense system? And what is it all for? Another mystery we may never have an answer to. Hjaalmarch next, and we're back to skeletons and bears. As we scale this peak, we come across the aforementioned bear, and just past it, we will find the bloodied remains of a fresh kill. 2 fresh kills, it would seem. And interestingly, a coin purse. Presumably it was tangled in the bones and insides of one of the unfortunate souls, but regardless, at least we walk away with something for our efforts spent making the trip up here. Now for Haafingar, we have something I'm sure you will have all seen, but perhaps never really thought about. If we head to the capital of Solitude and take a look over by the markets at the well, we will notice a fishing pole, placed as if fishing into the well itself. But why? It's a well. There's no fish in it. Was someone attempting to reclaim a lost item, or perhaps even steal the valuables thrown in there as wish offerings? It's possible, but once again, we will never know for sure. Alright, Winterhold. And yes, fine, I'll include it. Maybe someone out there doesn't know this one. We can find, half encased in ice, a mammoth. And this mammoth has been impaled by none other than dwarven ballista bolts and arrows. And a random axe that just scales with level, so don't worry about that one. But yes, it would seem, based on this information, and by extension, the mammoth bones littering the ground nearby, the dwarves did in fact hunt mammoths. It makes a lot of sense that they would, but confirmation is always nice. Hi, editing Snowfall back once again. I didn't make a mistake this time, but between the events of recording the audio and then deciding to go actually get footage, this one kind of despawned, and I can't get it back. So normally there's like a dude with a chest for a chest, like instead of his ribcage, the chest is the chest is still there, so that's something. But yeah, he's gone. But he is normally here. Anyway, I'll let the video continue now. Now for the Forgotten Vale, and I find that I don't think I covered last time, but as of writing this script, I am quite frankly far too lazy to check. Anyway, ducking under the frigid waters, we can come across a skeleton with a rather odd chest. It's a chest. Its chest is a chest. There's really nothing else to say. It's just fantastic. And now we delve down into the ruins of Blackreach, and this time we're actually going to be looking at an interior, which I don't think I even considered in the Blackreach video. But this is an odd one indeed. We enter a room which, aside from the gnome root and some crockery, seems to be relatively empty, aside from the stone chair at the opposite end, upon which sits a skill book, a block skill book to be precise, which means, well, it means Bethesda doesn't consider lore when they place loot, as we know, but within universe, it must mean that someone came down and placed this here for some reason. But regardless, when one goes to sit upon the chair the book rests on, a trap is sprung. A spinning dwarven blade trap activates. But why? What function could this possibly serve? A prison? Seems unlikely. A torture chamber? Also seems unlikely given the other decor in the room. Perhaps it was just some kind of experiment. The Dwemer did love those after all. Ah, Solstheim, a land of dark curses, ash, magic, and fire, and dragons. And we're not going to be looking at any of that. We shall be turning our attention to a chest. Now, you may have noticed something different about it. It is, of course, absolutely riddled with spears from Reiklings. Why? Well, luckily, there is a simple answer to this one. It's because the chest is locked, which has clearly led to some ire from our short blue friends. Still, more for us. Ah, the Soul Cairn, my least favourite place to record anything. Now, here we have something a little different, and again, something many of you are likely familiar with, but it is also very easy to miss. Scattered around the Soul Cairn, you can find these tall lightning rods. But what you may not have known is that these lightning rods can be used. If you approach with an empty soul gem in your inventory and interact with the soul gem holder, the rod will be buffeted with lightning and retract, and the soul gem will be converted into a black soul gem. But this action can only be performed once per lightning rod. And now back to the plains of Apocrypha. If you saw the original video, you'll remember the giant wisp lanterns. Well, there is one other giant entity out in the inky waters of the Black Book, Waking Dreams. Heading out far enough, further than you can feasibly get normally, is a gigantic tentacle. Dwarfing the player character, it stretches high into the sickly green sky as it slithers. But we best move on quickly before the inevitable barrage of inappropriate jokes. And finally, we return to Sovngarde. Now, Sovngarde is quite small, as you may have noticed, so there isn't a whole lot, but there is at least one more thing to mention. If we turn our attention to the sky, we can see the warrior, mage, and thief signs found in our level up menu. A small detail to be sure, but a very cool one if you've never noticed it before. And that is it, the end of an era. Everywhere we have gone through. Of course, the content doesn't stop here, so if you've enjoyed, then be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.